Time for another episode of the Josh Cast. Am I making too many of these? Am I doing too much? Is this? Are we going back to daily? I don't think we need daily, but maybe I need daily. Maybe this is more for me than it is for you. Is this just that I'm not talking to enough people, and as a result, I've devolved to podcasting? Devolved is not the right. Wow, that is wow. There is so much self-hatred there, packed in the word devolved, and that just insulted all podcasters. Or is it the truth? One of the two, perhaps both. Still have bowel troubles. That's still happening, and still. I was talking to my dad yesterday. It was his birthday. He's doing all right. My mom says that he's depressed, so I asked him, "Are you depressed?" And he said he's weary. I don't know. You say potato, I say potato. Let's call the whole thing off. Depressed, weary, one of the two. I'm not sure what the difference is. Well, he said, well, depression is when you're sad. And, well, Dad, you don't sound happy. Weary, is weary above sad? I'm not sure. Oh, I'm weary. I tire of the world and of the human race, but at least I'm not depressed. And then he asked me if I'm depressed, and I said I'm always depressed. And then I think that depressed him. But I said that not because I feel that I'm always down, but I said that because even if things are going okay, I always feel like it's in the background. So it's either it's prevalent or it's not prevalent. It's the volume is high or the volume is low. And for years, I would say, oh, it's a minor depression. It's not a big deal. It's not like major depression. But now I'm beginning to think, well, what's the difference between? Well, there is a difference between minor and major. I mean, there are people who they can't get out of bed. But even then, why does my, and I've talked about this before, but why does that make my depression any lesser than someone else's depression? It's just different. It's not better or worse. It's different. And the other reason why I like to say I'm always depressed is because I don't want to operate under the illusion that it's necessarily something that's going to 100% go away. I think that's a dangerous notion. It's not going to go away, and circumstances may come up which will cause it to flare. And I am learning slowly but surely that I have to take steps to cope with it, and I'm trying to embrace it in a way and be at peace with it. And accept it for what it is, which, by doing, I'm hoping that, because what I keep hearing is that, not what I keep hearing, what I read about once was that if you really want something, or if I really want something to change, the first thing I have to do is accept things as they are right now. And in that acceptance, it creates the space for change to occur. So I am working to accept depression. And when I do that, I've noticed that there is a change, and I go from being depressed to being weary. I brought it right back. Graduate to weary. So that's happening. Isn't that something? Just keep creating. That's just what you got to do. You got to, what are you passionate about, Josh? Josh, here's what you have to ask yourself. What are you passionate about? Just expressing my opinion to all that will hear. I used to be so much more into acting, and I'm not into that lately. It's kind of to the point, I think, with acting. Here's the problem. I don't care what the author has to say. I don't give a crap, Shakespeare. I know you got opinions, but I got opinions too. And I'm not interested in spouting your opinions here. Blah, 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 to be or not to be. I'm not to be, but I guess I'll be. That's my angle on it. There's a guy driving a Scion. The Scion. I have an image of a person who drives a Scion as being like young and like they're in their 20s and they're not rich, but they're making their way up in the world, and they're having a lot of casual sex at the same time. Like they're just managing their 20s well. It's a fun time. We go out every night. We have tequilas. I meet people all the time, and I'm really sowing my wild oats. My 20s, man, it's great. Just driving around in my Scion, or is it Skyon? I think it's Scion. Here's the other thing I noticed. I saw a Scion go by, then I saw a Kia go by, and they are essentially the same design. It's the exact same shape. But the Scion is cooler. The person driving the Scion just got finished with his web design job and is about to go to a party that may turn into an orgy. And the person driving the Kia is thinking, I don't know, I thought this accounting degree would get me more than this. I don't know. Those are my thoughts on the Scion. There's a sign that says hall for rent. A hall for rent. There's a hall, it's for rent. What do you do in the hall? I wonder how much it is for rent. Was that the initial business plan? Gentlemen, I propose we build a hall. Well, what does that entail? It's a giant room, and then we rent it out. Well, what do you mean a giant room? Just a giant room. Are there chairs and tables? Well, for an additional charge. So you're saying we build a building that, you're just talking about office space. No, it's a hall. Well, what if somebody wants to use it for no. They use it for events that you need a hall for. Like what? Like meetings? Well, we mean like weddings? No, it's not that fancy. I mean, maybe a modest rehearsal dinner. Maybe. How long did you spend planning this? All night. I have plans. What do you think? It's a great rectangle. Listen, I had to get a one of those L-shaped rulers to draw this rectangle so that it was at 90-degree angles. Because if the last thing I want is a parallelogram hull, no one wants that. Frankly, the parallelogram hull sounds like more of a, I mean, at least there's an angle. Did you mean to pun there? I kind of did. I don't feel like talking about this anymore. I'm building the hull, period. And then they did, and here you are. North Hollywood Hull, the Hull of North Hollywood. People need hulls. There's a need. Otherwise, why would they have built the hull? This is my passion. These are my opinions. This is what it's important for me to these are the thoughts I really feel like need to get out into the internet right now. I think I just drove by a place that says Flowers by Dan. And I must admit to feeling a bit of a prejudice here, which is not fair. Because, you know, Dan may be the greatest florist in the world. But there was a part of me that was thinking, but with a name like Dan. And that's not fair to assume that just the Dans don't know anything about flowers. Not all Dans drink beers and watch the big game. Some Dans are and you know what? There are some Dans that watch the big game and drink beers, and they're great with flowers. So I've proven with this that I'm essentially stuck in the 20th century in terms of gender and identity politics. Sorry, I was just feeling shame there. Just pointing that out. Ooh, kids' spa parties. Fancy. A spa party. Yeah, it sounds great. That just sounds great. Let me just wear a bathing suit and be surrounded by children who are going to compliment me on my appearance, I'm sure. Sounds like a real party. Rockstar energy drink. You know, I'd like to start an energy drink company, but I want to make it classical music energy drink. Because why can't listening to Mozart give you more energy? I want to have an energy drink with Gustavo Dudamel on the cover. Mozart Twist. That's what we'll call it. Now, twist doesn't convey energy. Beethoven's Fifth. Did they actually make... Oh, no, it was Beethoven's Second. That's right. There's Beethoven and then Beethoven's Second. I was always a fan of the Beethoven movies because I was a fan of Charles Grodin. I always enjoyed watching him. Funny person. I would trust that man to make a 2-hour movie with a dog. That right there. Sign me up. But back to the Mozart energy drink, which I don't think... That's not a thread I want to lose on this podcast right now. Mozart energy drink. It gives you 5 hours of energy and inspiration that is unparalleled. But I still need a better title than the Mozart with a twist. Maybe something with the magic flute. The magic energy drink? No. Boy, I'm usually better on the names. Mozart. That's the question. What was the name of that movie with Salieri and Amadeus? Oh, I've got it. I've got the name of it. A Mozart-themed energy drink called I'ma Do This! I think what just happened right there is the greatest podcast that's ever been recorded. I'ma do this. A Mozart-themed energy drink. How can we get this done? I'ma do this. Is it fair for me to say that? Does that work? Oh, I'm so depressed. But at least I'm not weary. All right. Discount cigarettes. Discount cigarettes. Good to know. Are there luxury cigarettes? I imagine it's the cigarettes you put in that long thing, what's it called? The cigarette holder thing that the Penguin uses it when he's committing crimes. He's always got the long cigarette thing. Committing crimes in style. Seems like a pain in the butt with the cigarette holder. And again, I didn't mean to pun on pain in the butt, but it's the whole thing with the Penguin. I think I can commiserate with the Penguin because no matter what the Penguin does, he's not the Joker. He's never going to be the Joker. It's never going to be the Joker. He's never going to be the arch nemesis. He's a nemesis, but not the arch nemesis, no matter what he does. And he's done some pretty amazing things with birds. He's put missiles on the back of birds. I mean, he must be so frustrated. Why is Batman in love with the Joker? Why that's his nemesis? Do you know how hard it is to amass 20,000 penguins and affix a missile on each penguin's back? Does anyone appreciate the advancements and train the penguins using radio transmission to train the penguins to march and do my bidding? Do you understand how much new technology I had to invent that doesn't even exist in the real world? And Batman is in love with what does the Joker do? He hires people to wear face paint. He's just a gangster with a smile. Yes, he's got the toxin, but that's just, that's it. And when it comes to a Joker mobile, by the way, it's not that hard to buy a Buick and then just, pay some guy who drives a Scion $50 to make a papier-mâché mask of the Joker and just staple it to the front of the friggin' Scion. This is ridiculous. Totally ridiculous. I'm tired. I need an I'ma do this. I'ma do this. A Mozart-themed energy drink. Makes that podcast worth it. It really does.